Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of the Beach Boys podcast, and happy holidays to everybody. With Christmas being right around the corner, obviously, we had to do an episode covering the Christmas album. We have Brandon, Nate, and Josiah joining us tonight. Glad to have you guys. And I'll just put out my opening thoughts. I'll put my opening thoughts out for the Christmas album. I think it's incredible. It's one of my all-time favorite Christmas albums. And yeah, that's it. What do you guys think?
It's my classic Christmas album, second favorite to Phil Spector's, as you guys probably would have predicted. I love the originals. It's really the last time, one of the last times, you're hearing the band play all the instruments together as a unit. And you can really hear, oh, that's Brian playing the bass, and that's Dennis on, so on and so forth. And it's a spectacular listen from start to end.
So I also love this album. I love the originals. I'm not as big of a fan of the covers, but I still like them. I was saying this earlier, but Auld Lang Syne at the end, I think would have been so kick-ass if they just kept it all the vocals and then had Dennis chime in at the end, but I don't like how they have him, come in 12 seconds into the song and kind of mess the whole thing up. It would have been much cooler if they just let the whole song play out. Then Dennis comes in and it kind of feels personable.
I think it's a pretty decent, enjoyable album overall. Not quite as hot on it as you guys are, but I think the covers are very well arranged by Dick Reynolds, and the vocals, especially on like "We Three Kings of Orient" are beautiful, and as I've said before, the originals are a little too underproduced and stripped back for my liking. But I mean, most of the originals are still good, musically, melody-wise, they're pretty enjoyable. So yeah.
Yeah, I like the originals a lot, and I think writing an original Christmas song is like a pretty complicated task, and I really think that they couldn't have done a better job than they did. I understand what you're saying about the production. I definitely agree with that. But in terms of just like the quality of the songs that they're pumping out, I love every single original song on this album. I'm not sure which one is my favorite. Maybe Santa's Beard. Something about Santa's Beard has just always been really intriguing to me. It has a really weird chord progression at the very beginning.
That sharp 5.
Yeah, let me.
Oh yes.
It's such a weird thing to do in like a rock song. It's like, and then right, and the bass line is first the bass line goes, and they do a whole tone scale. It's funny because I think we were talking before about how like the lyrics are kind of corny and stuff, but it's so funny how like underneath that you have like this like pretty dark chord progression,
Yeah. Like very jazz informed chromatic stuff.
That part always caught my ear. Like when I first heard that album, I was like, ooh, I did not expect that, especially in like a Beach Boys Christmas album. I love it. I love how they can just sneak those little moments in there.
Yeah, I think, as I was saying, I think Little Saint Nick and Santa's Beard are the definite highlights of the original songs. Definitely are just, catchy as hell, just like really fun songs. And the fact that, Little Saint Nick, the fact that, a pop band, a pop rock band could make like a Christmas classic is really rare.
Yeah.
It's a testament to how good they are,
Yeah, because it's not like the Stones or Led Zeppelin or the Doors, Gin and Dean ever made a Christmas classic, and not even the Beatles. McCartney obviously did. Little Saint Nick is obviously like a standout. It's probably in the top 5 best Christmas songs, like that no one would debate. I love. And then my personal favorite is like a two-way tie. I love The Man with All the Toys. I love the chords. I love Brian's falsetto when he takes over the lead. But what really does it for me is Carl's lead guitar. It's just a really cool like counterpoint melody going on to to the lead vocal. And it's just great guitar playing for someone who was still in his teens.
That like single note, like da da da.
Yeah.
Da 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 da.
Yeah. I can't get enough of that. And then the other one is Merry Christmas Baby, because I think that song is just such a groove. They got into the perfect beat, and I love how in the mono mix you can kind of hear Brian shouting at the band to like pick it up and feel it in the intro. The Al's Fender bass, that really sharp picked sound, that classic Beach Boys bass sound, cuts through the mix. And I like the hand claps too. That's another like Beach Boys motif coming up. So yeah, those to me are my personal faves.
And we have On Christmas Day, which is I think is the weakest of the original songs. This is kind of the least interesting kind of musically, I think, but it's significant for having Al's first lead, which is cool.
It's funny. To each his own with musically boring or not, but it goes back and forth between like C major and minor so effortlessly. It's really cool. I think C minor and F major, not that it really matters, but chord wise, super cool stuff. Brian, he was so good at like there are probably many Christmas songs that use a similar progression as like On Christmas Day, but there are like those little moments that he throws in like harmonically that make it so Beach Boy.
Yeah,
that's what I love.
The background vocals on that part, and da 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 da, like I think there's like those background harmonies underneath that. So beautiful.
And even to Brian's credit, even though he didn't do the track arrangement on the vocal arrangements, which he did, are out of sight. And it's cool that you've got Frank Sinatra as arranger, Dick Reynolds arranging the tracks, and a kid who's college age arranging the vocals, and he's able to hold his ground.
Yeah, for me, the arrangements are a whole added layer of enjoyment to this album. I love the originals already right off the bat, and then when we get into like the traditional Christmas songs, I think just like the arrangements are just top notch. Some of my favorite arranging, and at first I thought Brian did it, and I was like, wow, this is almost kind of like like Pet Sounds in a way in terms of like the arrangements and stuff. I'm surprised that Brian didn't get more credit for this album like he does for Pet Sounds, and then I realized it was Dick Reynolds. But a lot of those like things like seem very Brian-esque, like particularly which one is it? It's the ending of one of the I'll Be Home for Christmas, like the very end when it has like that, I think totally. It's like a bell or like a vibraphone doing those weird chords. It goes like down, it's like it sounds like just like these weird chords that Brian would come up with,
and some of those things may have well been Brian's input too, because I'm sure he was in the studio too. Because he was ultimately producing the record, so even though they were playing Reynolds arrangements, he was the one in the booth, producing the band. So some of those little quirks very well could have come from Brian.
Speaking of I'll Be Home for Christmas, I think that's, I don't know, by far the strongest of the covers to me. I don't know. I just think the vocals on that are fantastic. And when I think of that song, I don't think of any of the other versions of it. I always think of this one, which is weird because typically I think of the one I would have heard first, but this one just always stands out to me. I think it's probably my second favorite track off the album after Little Saint Nick. But that's just, personal opinion, of course.
And I would agree. Yeah.
And Brian's vocals on the album overall are excellent. Like, obviously you got We Three Kings, but also like White Christmas is like such a beautiful vocal, and he just kills it. on here,
And,
really.
yeah, and the way they do a lot of these, like the way they do White Christmas and I'll Be Home for Christmas, like is more of a ballad. It just lends itself so nicely to those vocal harmonies, you know. Yeah, just perfect choices. And I do think there are like a couple, we were talking about this before. We actually recorded like 20 minutes of this episode without hitting the record button, so we're repeating ourselves a little bit. But
Just don't tell them.
I would echo what Josiah said earlier about how there are a couple of the covers I would say aren't the strongest. I think you were saying what Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Yeah.
That's
In general, I think that's just kind of
that weird circus interlude thing. Yeah, not a fan. Doesn't
that is very weird. It's very.
I don't think that's one of the stronger Christmas songs anyway. Like that's not one of those Christmas songs I've ever gotten like really excited over. You know, I can kind of do without it.
I like the Bruce Springsteen version, but
I love the Spectre version.
Okay,
of course.
And I don't think Frosty the Snowman is anything special, really either. Like it's just kind of like it's a pretty standard version. There's nothing too exciting, you know.
I was gonna say, if you think of like if in your head you're like, what would the Beach Boys sound like singing Frosty the Snowman? You'd come up with what they sang on this album.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing interesting to it. It's like, oh, Frosty the Snowman, it's some nice vocals, and that's it.
I always wish that they would just put a sixth original at the end of side one and just scrap that, because they have these 5 originals and then it just ends with Frosty the Snowman.
I think a cool thing about this album is every guy has a moment to shine, and that goes like with without being said vocally with how great the harmonies are. But Brian obviously has spotlights throughout the album. Carl's guitar work, as I mentioned on side one, is really cool. It's cool to hear that surf rock guitar sound in a Christmas setting. They really pull it off. Dennis's drumming is really fantastic. I think you can hear like when you compare his drumming on the Christmas album to his drumming on Surfin' Safari, it sounds like a studio pro compared to a kid who just picked up the sticks. Al obviously has his first lead, and I think Al's bass playing and guitar playing is such an under talked about aspect of the group's sound. I think if you stripped Al away from this album in particular, it would sound completely different. He's like an unsung hero.
Yeah, that's very fair. Did any of you guys see Brian when he did the Christmas album tour?
No. You did, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely very fortunate to be able to see that. Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, Brian wasn't having like one of his better nights, but just to be there and to be able to hear the album, and you know, you got Matt Jardine covering all the high notes and stuff. And I mean, the backing band is so good that Brian can kind of be in whatever, you know, mood he's going to be in, and it's still going to be a great show, you know. And at this point, I'm just happy that Brian's there, you know. I'm just happy to be in the same room as him.
I watched videos from that tour, and I love the way Blondie sang "Merry Christmas, Baby." That was super cool. And didn't Blondie do like a reggae version of the Chuck Berry Christmas song on that tour?
Not at the show I was at, but he did sing "Merry Christmas, Baby." It was very fitting for him. It was like exactly like you were saying about Frosty the Snowman. It's like, how would Blondie Chaplin sing "Merry Christmas, Baby"? It's exactly what you're picturing in your head. Taking like his ridiculous guitar solo, you know, he takes like these like 3-minute guitar solos. You've seen those, right?
Of course, I've experienced them in person. 3-minute, more like 20 minutes.
It's every time he's doing those two, I'm always just like wondering what's going on in Brian's head. You know, while
Brian's like still looking at his watch. I've literally seen him look at his watch during Blondie's song.
He doesn't check his phone.
And Blondie tries to walk up to Brian and get him engaged, and Brian's like, dude, like, I wasn't excited about guitar solos in the 60s. What do you think I'm going to be now?
Oh, that's funny. Blondie Chaplin's a funny guy.
He
Okay,
actually just.
I'll give him. Huh?
We. You can
I was just gonna say he's got a
back.
hell of amount of energy for a guy his age. I will say.
Oh, it's incredible. All the guys do when you think about it. Even Brian, even though he's just sitting at the piano, to be nearing 80 and still get on the airplane to go from state to state, and it's remarkable.
And he was like, wasn't there one part of the tour where he had like a cast on his leg?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was. I think it was related to back surgery, but he was like in a wheelchair because of the back surgery.
He was like in a wheelchair during the tour, right? Like they would wheel him out.
Yeah. When I saw him recently, that's how it was.
Yeah, picture going through that at that age and
Wilson,
travel.
like he says.
Yeah,
that's crazy,
insane. That's what he says. Willpower Wilson.
Yeah, I think he said
awesome.
that in a few interviews in his book.
That's awesome. I love it. So
and
for
Willpower Wilson making a Christmas album in July, that takes willpower. That's when this album was recorded.
Christmas in July.
It's funny because this is like the only Christmas album where I could actually listen to it any time of year. Like I've listened to this so many times when it wasn't Christmas, and I've never experienced that with any other Christmas album. To be fair, I mean, really the first side, like I'm not listening to a lot of the covers and stuff, but
same.
I can listen to those originals all year round.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. First side all year round.
It's probably my most spun vinyl out of like all of them. Like I just have it on all the time.
Wow.
Doing work or, whatever. It's just a good one to throw on. And, I've heard it so many times that it's, sort of
relaxing.
Yeah, relaxing. Yeah, exactly.
This is one of the few albums too that I've like told people to listen to around Christmas time. I'll just, because people are always looking for Christmas music. So I'll just always recommend this. And everybody that I've showed this to has loved it. And, it's very rare, at least with a lot of the music I recommend to people. I don't often get that reaction. And like, I've gotten a couple of people like hooked on this album.
Beautiful.
Yeah. One of my friends actually said, like, he's not a huge Beach Boys fan. I mean, I've gotten, all my friends to listen to enough of their stuff, whether they like it or not. But, but he said, this album, he loves this album. He's like, Little Saint Nick, if you don't have that as your favorite Christmas song, or at least, top 3, you're just objectively wrong. And I'd have to agree with, you'd have to agree with that. It's a classic and it's awesome. So like,
yeah. For sure.
So many great Beach Boys moments too, like the da, 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 Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And then Mike comes in on the bottom with the Christmas.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, it's so good. That whole ending part, like the fade out, if they could just put that ending part on a loop, I could just listen to that over and over and over again.
Totally.
So good. Oh my God. I love it. Yeah, what a badass song.
You can also tell when it starts getting Christmas time because on Spotify it's like that one slowly moves up their most played until it's at number 1 until February, and then it goes back down. But it's fun to see it do that every year.
Yeah, every year. That's always the one. I always wonder if there's ever going to be a different one from that album that catches on, but I feel like it's always going to be Little Saint Nick.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I think they could have released. I think all the songs on all the originals are strong enough where any of them they would have released would have been Christmas staples, I think.
Yeah.
And I think The Man with All the Toys has become a Christmas staple too.
I know people that listen to that. Yeah. Recently. I that's weird. Yeah, but let's, hopefully it keeps catching on and maybe it'll become another, I don't think it'll ever be Little Saint Nick, but have you guys seen the video for the Little Saint Nick yet? Like
no, I haven't actually. I haven't.
Oh, guess
it's
what,
fun.
Brandon? There's a little surfboard in the video that says "Feel Flows" on it.
Yeah, I actually because I saw on the on one of the Beach Boys servers, like they were like showing photos from the like video, and like the amount of references and stuff is just like nuts.
Yeah, they have the little Brother Records horse just
like
chilling somewhere in there.
And all that, so that's cool.
Is this a newer video?
Yeah, it came out like 2 days ago.
A little cartoon animated Saint Nick video.
Actually, it might have come out today.
Put it out?
Yeah, it's on their YouTube channel, and it's also also plays if you're on Spotify. It also plays in the background. You know how they like some songs have like weird background animations.
Mhm.
It like here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here, it has like there, like it's playing in the background, the video.
Oh,
so
nice.
nowadays, yeah, it used to just be the album cover, but now they have Santa surfing. So
Yeah, Spotify's wild and stuff like that. That's cool. I'll have to check that out. This was a fun fact that I didn't know about this album. So We Three Kings, did you know that up until that point, that's the longest song they ever recorded in the 60s? It was 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's that's interesting.
Because then you have other songs that are under 2 minutes. There's I think a couple of the originals aren't even 2 minutes long, right?
Yeah, one of them's like, I can't remember which one. Oh, I think Man with All the Toys is like 1.5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Auld Lang Syne's like 1 minute and 12 seconds too, even though it's a cover.
A lot of
Santa's
Beach Boys
Beard's
songs
1:59.
Yeah.
Yeah, Little Saint Nick 1:59. Man with All the Toys 1:30. Santa's Beard 1:59. Christmas Day is 1:51. So 4 out of the 5 are under 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Wild.
Short and sweet.
That's how they do it. I like Blue Christmas too. Blue Christmas is another one of my favorite
Another good
covers.
vocal,
Yeah, that's a good cover.
I mean the instrumentation and the arrangement, it just reminds me, like right off the bat, it reminds me of like a classic like Bing Crosby Christmas sort of vibe, you know. Really in general, all of the arrangements on this album, the orchestrations, it's just incredible.
Yeah, they're very Dean Martin-y, Frank Sinatra kind of crooner sounding stuff, which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, combining that with the Beach Boys vocal harmonies, it's perfect. What are some of your guys' other favorite Christmas albums other than Phil Spector?
I know that was Nate's answer, but that was also my answer. But let's see.
I lost. Was the question other favorite Christmas albums?
Yeah.
I only have 2 other Christmas albums, or 3 other Christmas albums that I've ever listened to, and I actually enjoyed them all. Spector one, Brian's one, which I dig, and Mike's, which I really, really dig.
I super dig the Elvis Christmas album. I think Phil Spector does production, I think, on like one of the songs even. I don't know if I think it's Santa Claus is Back in Town. I'm not sure. I don't know. I've always loved Elvis's Christmas album, probably because we have the vinyl of it and we play it every year. But I think that's an underappreciated one, and Elvis is great, especially for like Blue Christmas with that typical Elvis, swagger, I guess. And I also like Bing
I love
Crosby's.
Elvis's Blue Christmas.
I
forgot about that.
I also like the Charlie Brown Christmas album. That's a fun one. It's a little bit jazzy.
Yeah, that's great.
And I like just the classic Bing Crosby Christmas album, which is name I don't even know, but I've heard all the songs on it 1,000,000 times.
Right.
So, fun fact about me that you guys probably wouldn't have predicted is I know almost as much about Snoop Dogg as I do the Beach Boys. I am a Snoop fan.
Does he have a Christmas album?
Yes. Which I actually forgot to mention. I do dig that Christmas album.
Amazing.
Too.
That sounds very interesting.
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Snoop has an auto-tuned cover of Elvis's version of Blue Christmas, like Snoop doing an Elvis impression, and it's
oh my god,
top tier material.
Include that in the comments of this video.
Yeah.
That's an essential.
I haven't really listened to. I mean, I don't really listen to other Christmas albums, really. Like, I mean, I've listened to Brian's, not in full, but I've listened to quite a few of the tracks on there, and I've listened to some of Mike's tracks off Reason for the Season. But yeah, I just don't really get into Christmas albums. But there's this one song by an Australian band actually called Mental as Anything. Is the band name, and their song, they've got a Christmas song called Apocalypso, Wiping the Smile Off Santa's Face. And it's funny because it's one of their hardest rockers, which is interesting in a Christmas song, but it's an enjoyable song. And like because Weird Al has his kind of Christmas Spectre style song with I'm trying to remember what it's called. Hang
Weird
on.
Al?
I got. Yeah, Weird Al. Weird Al has a song that's I gotta look up what it's called. So yeah, it's like a style parody of like Spector's Christmas stuff, and it's called Christmas at Ground Zero.
Oh, that's Weird Al.
So like this Apocalypso song. Yeah. So it mixes the Christmas theme with like an apocalyptic theme as well, which is fun. So
I heard that song a lot as a kid, and I never knew it was Weird Al. It's in like a chipmunk voice, right?
No.
I'm thinking of something else. I don't know what I'm thinking of right now, but something just brought me back to my childhood. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to the Christmas album. Pretty much what Josiah said was exactly. Charlie Brown, Bing Crosby.
Yeah. If you had to pick an artist to record a Christmas album, who would you choose? Like any artist that never did one, who would you choose? Whose Christmas album would you like to hear?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Mine, Jane and Dean recorded Frosty the Snowman, but that's it. So I guess mine would be a Jane and Dean Christmas album. They would have been making fun of Christmas to hell.
Maybe what would be cool is like a Paul Christmas album, like from the late 70s, and it's really synth heavy and stuff like that, like Wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think that'd be kind of cool, almost like a Love You Christmas kind of thing. That'd be interesting, I think.
I think just for the sake of experimentation and seeing what he would do with it, I would like to hear a Van Dyke Parks Christmas album. I think that could be pretty wild.
That would be
true.
interesting, yeah.
Just to hear something
His would be
different.
like analyzing
I know it'd be
biblical references and all these.
Yeah,
his would be called like an Islamic Christmas with Van Dyke Parks. Or something like that. Just something where you'd be like, huh?
What would the cover? What would be on the cover?
Him on the cross.
He's on the cross playing a accordion. Or no, you got to do the full effect.
Stretched out.
Yeah, with the stretched out accordion. That's great. Anybody listening, if you're good at photo editing, make that. Make a meme out of that for like the five people that would.
If I had to pick somebody, it's kind of weird, but I'd like to hear like a Bon Scott AC/DC Christmas album. I feel. I think it would be fun. See what they did with it. Christmas balls or something like that. Seems like something they'd write. So
I'm picturing what the covers would be like.
I don't know.
You better watch out.
Yeah, it'll be.
Not cry.
4 minutes of Angus Young shredding, Christmas guitar solo. It'd be awesome. I don't know.
I was going to, speak of Angus Young before, when we were talking about Blondie Chaplin, I was going to say he's the Angus Young of Brian Wilson's band.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
He definitely fits in when he was in the Stones more with the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
He seems like he was born to be a member of the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Like Keith Richards' long-lost black brother.
Yeah, South Africa, yeah.
But I think he lives in California now, or he's on the West Coast.
Yeah, I think he does live in Cali.
Not to be dark, but how is Keith Richards still alive with how many drugs he did?
He lives in a town that I give lessons in a Wilton, Connecticut, and he either lives in that town or he lives in the town over, but there's like a grocery store that I go to sometimes that he apparently is a regular at, but I haven't bumped into him yet.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Him and Christopher Walken are both regulars at this grocery store.
Oh, that's cool.
Imagine walking into Christopher Walken, Jesus.
Christopher Walken and Keith Richards.
Yeah.
Weird.
In the same.
Well, I bumped into another guy that lives in the town that I bumped into. Did you ever watch The Sopranos?
Yeah.
You know Ralphie from The Sopranos? Joe Pantaleone. He was at a coffee shop that I was at one time, and I said hi. I did. Like,
Is your town like the Beverly Hills of Connecticut?
Not my town, not the town I live in, but if you go further south in Connecticut, there's some wealthier areas closer to New York City, and that's where a lot of these actors and Hollywood people live, because it's close enough to the city, but you can kind of have more of a rural sort of lifestyle.
Have you guys seen the Harry Potter movies?
Yes.
No.
Not a Harry Potter guy.
So there's a terribly ugly character, with like totally facially deformed, Mad-Eye Moody, Brandon.
Yes.
And so I was in Hollywood, staying there on vacation, and I saw the actor who played him.
Oh,
so
wow.
I walk up and I say, I'm such a huge fan of Harry Potter. And he goes, me too. And I said, it would mean the world to me if I could get your autograph. And he was, huh? And I'm like, you're Mad-Eye Moody, aren't you? And he was like, no, man, I'm the janitor here. Not the
actor. A janitor who happens to like Harry Potter.
Yeah, right.
Right? He said me too, and you said you're a fan.
Yeah,
that's wild.
He was probably thinking, what the hell? Why is this kid asking me this?
That's crazy.
That's so good.
Oh, that's so good.
And then he goes home like, fuck, I look like Mad-Eye Moody.
Yeah.
You guys should Google it and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mad-Eye Moody. Maybe I'll Google it. I'll get a picture up on the screen for this one.
God.
Is there anything else?
I mean, is there any other thoughts on the album? I mean, I feel like it's pretty brief, pretty short album too. Isn't it like a half hour?
27 minutes, I think.
Wild Honey still wins though.
Yeah.
Shorter.
24.
23 something. Yeah.
Wild Honey is how long?
23.
Yeah.
Something.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious.
You'd think it'd be like 32 minutes, but it's like 23.
That's mind blowing. Wait, I gotta look into this right now.
Especially because whenever I think of Here Comes the Night, even if it's a Wild Honey version, I always think it's like 10 minutes long. So like, can't pause.
It's kind of sad.
24 minutes.
Yeah, 24. Yeah. It's kind of sad that Wild Honey's like 24 minutes long, yet Mama says still feels tacked on.
Yeah.
Even though it's such a short album, it's like that still kind of feels like filler to extend it,
It's never felt like a short album.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't feel like a short album, but it is.
Can't wait too long. With a little help from my friends, The Letter. They had some more stuff from those.
They're dumb. We know the Beach Boys are dumb.
I'm like Friends. I've always considered like a short album, but is this actually shorter than Friends?
Yeah, Friends is like 20. How long's Friends? 26 minutes, I think.
What's their longest and shortest album?
Summer in Paradise is their longest.
Well, that
feels like it too.
It does feel like it. It feels like an eternity when you're listening to it.
Oh, it's fun. Don't be mean. Where's your Christmas spirit?
Yeah, they should release a Christmas of Love song, just cover of Summer of Love, but
Christmas of God. Yeah, so Wild Honey's the shortest. And
here's the real question: is Smart Girls or Summer of Love?
The chorus of Summer of Love is genuinely really catchy, but Smart Girls it's just so funny.
Yeah. Smart Girls is definitely funnier, but Summer of Love's pretty catchy. I don't know if I can answer that.
I can't.
You love them both
to,
equally.
Yeah, I love them both so much. That's an unfair question.
Mike, if you haven't heard Smart Girls, it's okay.
It's all right.
No, it's actually not okay. No, it's not okay. How can you call yourself a fan, Mike?
Oh my gosh!
But I thought you listened to Sweet Insanity.
Oh, I did. I don't remember all the songs by title.
Oh,
well, I think
you'd
remember
Brian
Smart
was
Girls.
Rapping?
You would remember Smart Girls.
That's not the one that sounds like Heart and Soul, right?
No,
that's
there's
awesome.
one where it's literally Brian rapping
Brian's
a hip hop
rapping.
beat with Beach Boys singles.
I gotta listen to that again. My favorite song on that album was "Thank You." I think it's called.
Yeah.
Or it's called Brian. Is it called Brian?
It's kind of like Brian, thank you. Brian pronounces
that
thank
song
you,
is
yeah.
beautiful.
They call
I
it
love that.
both.
Yeah. Sweet and Sound is great.
Is that it? Did we?
Yeah, I think so.
Finito,
I think so.
Next year we'll do the
quicker.
77 Christmas album. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
That's
the
true.
year after, I mean, that'll be it. We already did Brian Wilson's Christmas album, so unless Mike Love, you said Mike Love has a Christmas album.
Yeah.
He does.
All right. Well,
maybe by then
we have a
Van
few
Dyke Parks will come out with
Christmases
his
Yeah,
Christmas
I'm
album.
hoping.
So
I think he's still playing because I thought he had like arthritis or he had to stop playing piano for a while, but he posted something on his Twitter the other day of him like playing this crazy like ragtime sort of piano thing.
Yeah, I saw that. He was shredding.
Mike's just recently, I think like yesterday or something, Mike released he re-recorded 409.
Yeah, I thought it sounded really good.
Yeah, and I mean it's he's lessened the auto tune a bit, like it was still on there, but it's not unleashed the love levels of auto tune, so it's definitely kind of cut it back a bit, which is
I haven't gotten to that album yet, but I'm excited for that episode when we get to that.
Oh boy,
it's gonna be juicy. It's gonna get juicy.
Oh, it's gonna be juicy, all right.
I can say as someone who records for a living, no matter like what genre it is now, there's like auto tune used on like every single thing made.
Oh yeah.
Whereas even if you don't notice it, like it's just a given.
We're just stuck.
But that 409, it was super cool. It was Billy Gibbon from ZZ Top playing like lead guitar.
That is cool.
Doing his shake the 409, how he does that. It was cool. Honestly, just to see the guys healthy right now, it totally makes me beyond happy.
I just want them to be happy.
Yeah.
Oh, I Mike's dad, Milton Love. I saw some stuff about him because he didn't die until 2013.
Ooh.
So he was like 95 when he died. And like they were saying stuff like he there's a photo of him wearing a cowboy hat. He kind of looks like Mike. Well, he did look a lot like Mike when he was younger. Mike looked like him, but apparently, like there were some concerts where he'd come on stage with Mike. And then like one time, it's like, Mike's like, my dad came on stage and he like stole the show and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's so sweet.
Did anybody else?
If Murray came on the stage?
No.
Did anybody else? I found this out. I don't know, a couple months ago. Anybody watch basketball? I don't know.
No, I don't.
If they do, but Kevin Love. Has Mike's Love's nephew for all those Beach Boy basketball fans, which is weird to me.
God, he's massive, that guy.
Yeah. It's just such a strange connection to have. If you've seen Mike Love, it looks like he's never picked up a weight in his life. So, like, just to have Kevin Love, this 7 foot tall, monster. Very strange.
In true Mike Love fashion, he was on the high school track team. No evidence to support the fact that he was a star by any means. But in his book, he talks about how he was the greatest on the track team and won accolade after accolade.
Of course.
No, I believe it. I don't need any evidence. If Mike says it, if Mike says it, it's gospel. Or I don't.
That's so funny. That sounds exactly like something Trump would say. Like, I was on the track team. I was the greatest on the track team. Nobody ran track the way I did.
Mike Love is literally the Donald Trump of rock and roll, and Donald Trump is the Mike Love of politics.
Of politics.
No, don't say that.
Donald Trump is the Mike Love of politics. That could be interpreted so many different ways. We'll let the people interpret it how they want to. You fill in the blanks.
Yeah, take that however you want it.
But for next video, for next podcast, as we were talking about earlier, I think it'd be kind of nice to do something different for a change, and I think solo Beatles would be be pretty interesting,
Solo Beatles, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah.
I've been saying the Mike Love Donald Trump thing for years, but it also just occurred to me that they both obviously went bald many years ago and go to the end of the world to cover that up. So another similarities.
What does Mike do with his hair? I'm trying to think.
Baseball.
Like,
hat.
I feel like he always wears hats now. He always wears a
Yeah.
hat, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
Mike
picture
was
him without
going
a hat
bald in like 1967, so
Yeah.
you know.
on.
Yes.
I've always felt like She's Going Bald was like
Mike's
about
song.
him.
He was just writing about himself.
No, because the thing with Mike is that, like, even though Mike started going bald in like even earlier than that. Like I reckon like 63 he started going bald when he was like 22 years old. Anyway, so but see the thing is that Mike, like, even though he was going bald up here, he could still grow it out long at the back. So when he'd wear a hat, you just think, oh, he has long hair, so he could get away with it then.
So when the Beach Boys did their first drive-in show this past summer in Nebraska, I was like reading every review because I'm such a Beach Boy nut. And one of the reviews of the show said that Mike Love's like luscious hair was like blowing in the wind from underneath his cap. And I was like, how much did Mike pay this author to write that? Like, Mike Love's hair has never been described as luscious in 60 years. And now, all of a sudden, in 2020...
I heard some of the audio from that concert. Everyone sounded so freaking rough.
Yeah. You know how much I love the current band, and they sounded very rough.
Yeah.
This was the Nebraska thing that you were talking about?
This was actually in Ventura County in
Ventura,
August.
In California?
Yeah.
You'd think if you're going to do a drive-in show, by the way, that Nebraska, like, after all these months of being in quarantine, you wouldn't be like, yep, Nebraska's the place that we're going to sort of break the ice. Like, you're not going to rake in crowds. Like, go to LA or something.
Two things really dumb about this drive-in show is that, one, they didn't play drive-in, which is a huge missed opportunity.
Such an error.
I was expecting that.
And then two,
Mark McGrath.
Apparently some of the cars weren't even facing the stage. Like, they were the opposite, like, parked like opposite from the stage or something, which is so dumb.
Yeah, imagine paying. It was $100 a car.
Which is good if you've got like a few people in your car. That's a good deal, you know?
Yeah, but still, if you can't even see the stage, that would be lame.
Crazy.
I saw the other day online that Todd Rundgren is doing this thing. It's a virtual tour where he's performing virtually the whole time, I think in Illinois or Chicago or something like that. And they have all of these different locations throughout the United States. They're like these little theaters where like only a certain number of people can go, and like you go and then he's performing live on like this screen, I think.
Yeah, and it's like streamed.
Yeah, but streamed. Yeah, it's a really interesting idea. But I think like the closest one for me was like in New York City, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to go to the city right now with the state of things. You know, that's like the least appealing place to be right now, unfortunately. But it's cool. It's cool seeing people find ways of making it work. Yeah, I mean that's the whole reason we even started doing this, because I just knew like everybody was stuck at their house, and I was like, yeah, maybe we should put together like a little Beach Boys podcast or something.
Exactly.
I'm glad we did. You know.
Amen.
Well, thank you everybody for listening, and I hope all of you guys at home have a happy holiday, and everybody here. Pleasure talking to you guys as always. Always enjoyable, and hope you guys have a great holiday. And I look forward to the next episode. So we will see you guys next time.
Yes, definitely.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, guys.
You too. Bye.
Take care.
Au revoir.
Bye-bye.